And I have something that I wanted to share with you today if you have time.
I have so
Yes-
much time.
Yesterday in the Globe and Mail, yes, I still read a paper newspaper. Um, there was a letter, and it says, "What are parents' rights groups actually fighting for in schools?" Was the article that they're responding to. This is all this business about if the kids come and say they want to use they pronouns or change their names and stuff, that the
Yeah.
parents have to be told. So this is on this issue, and this writer says, "As a Gen Xer, I believe I am the same age as most of the parents who are making derogatory and ignorant comments towards school staff, sexual educators, and the LGBTQ community. That means we all grew up as part of the Degrassi High and Much Music generation, where topics of inclusivity, acceptance, wellness, and open-mindedness were commonplace. Seeing all of these parents protesting against the very same topics in schools today confuses me. Did they watch those shows in the 90s and 80s and cheer for the bully?"
That's beautiful. Oh my God, it's literally gonna make me cry. That's so beautiful.
I
Wow.
love that because I was thinking, yeah, like, and then I got worried and I thought, so the Degrassi influence is gone? I
Yeah,
don't think so, though. I think it's just a few outliers. And also, I think that anybody who watched the original shows, their kids are past high school age by now, probably.
I think so too. I think so too. We're missing Degrassi with these new kids who can maybe even talk to their parents and be like, this is the language that we need, that reverse situation of talking to their parents about it. Wow, I wanna look up that newspaper. It was the Globe and Mail, did you say
Globe and
today?
Mail yesterday, yeah.
Globe and Mail yesterday. Oh,
Yeah,
I mean,
on the letters to be edited page, should you see a paper copy of it? But
letters
you'll
to
be able to
editor.
find it online, I'm sure.
Yes, I know. I'm gonna email them because I love collecting anytime Degrassi's referenced anywhere. I want it. So I'm gonna email them and see if I can get a copy of that. That's so cool. That is
Well, if
so
you want me to
impactful.
mail you this piece of paper, I can do it.
I mean, I would love that. I mean, that would be even better. It'd be great.
Sure, I can do it.
Great.
I can throw that in the mail to you. Well, then the thing that's really fun is like I happen to have a good memory, so and I do, and I like details because even when I see them happen, I think, "Oh, that's my handwriting that now appeared on the jacket. That's pretty cool."
Yeah.
And like when we were going around and looking at the pictures, like I remembered what the background for all of those pictures were, and that we talked
Yeah.
about. And I remember even seeing that I had put an instruction on it, and it was on that blow up.
Yeah. On the
That
picture
was
of
the one that really
Ida.
threw me off to see my own little instruction to the printer on there.
From so many years ago. Yeah, and I own so many things that have your notes and your handwriting and on them and all those things, and so many press photos with you writing like I know specifically there's one where it's a picture of the kids and they detailed all the kids, but they didn't put the Yans in the picture, and you put a little note saying head writer Yan Moore. So those little things that I saw in the pictures, which is it's so cool to have that personal touch to things of they're lived pieces of reality that you guys put together for Degrassi, which is so
Yeah,
cool.
and that's why I like to really emphasize that we were not running around saying, "Oh, I'm going to make my handwriting famous." We were just
Hmm.
saying, "Well, somebody's got to write it." Well, your
Yeah.
handwriting is nice and fine. Okay, fine, I'll do it. And that it was a very lot of happenstance that happened to come together in this strange brew that somehow gelled. That's a pretty mixed metaphor. um, but anyway, like the thing
Yeah.
that happened in the end when we set out, we were not setting out to do that. We were just setting out to make some great shows and support them with material which we created as needed. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I guess we better do a press kit kind of thing. And that was when I started writing, like in the previous to the yearbook one. That was the first time they, I think, had full episode descriptions that were promotional.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, I've got worried because some of them I thought, Linda said, "You're making the show sound better than they actually are." But so those are things that we just,
Oh,
oh well, how are we going to solve this problem? What do we do here? Okay, we haven't done this before, so how is that done? And we just figured it out, and that was I think the beauty of it. And so I'm not going to lie, there were definitely days that one or the other of us would come home ready to kill everybody. I
mhm.
mean, there were days, but in the end, we got a great product out of it. We got a great ride out of it. We had an awful lot of fun. We made some great friends, and it was, despite those grrr days, um,
Mhm.
it was it ended up all these strange this little drop in this bucket, and then this other little drop in the bucket, and you got stone soup all of a sudden.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. I mean, anything that you love, anything that you're passionate about is gonna come with those days where you just don't wanna do it anymore, but you would if you made that decision, you would regret it wholeheartedly, so it's interesting. I don't know if you'll ever be able to see, but I have the calendars on my wall. It's cool to hear you list all the stuff you did and then think, "Oh, I actually have that." So that's really, really cool.
Yeah, well, if you have any of those reproduction ones from those two shows, or Kids Up too, later episodes of Kids Up,
Yeah.
and like the last two seasons was what I worked with them on, the yearbook one and the one before that.
Yes.
And any junior high calendars, press releases, press kits, that all came through my desk.
That is cool. And I have a Degrassi Talks press kit. Would you have done that as well?
And by the time the Degrassi Talks came along, I was starting to ease out of publicity,
Mm.
and so I didn't carry on after Degrassi High with the show. I didn't even work on Schools Out. By then I was still doing a lot of book publishers, and I was starting to feel like I wanted to change. And
Mhm.
that was when I decided, what? Why am I not enjoying it? And I thought, there's no kids. So I said, well, where
Yeah.
do they keep kids? I said, I heard they keep them in boxes in the suburbs. How do you get into those boxes? Well, you get a teaching degree. So I went back to school and became a teacher because I missed the
Wow.
Degrassi experience.
That's incredible. Well, I think it makes sense because the kids grow up and age out of the show and they move on. And it makes sense that the adults that when the kids graduate, it makes sense that you guys would also be like, well, what do I do now? So I like that.
That was the beginning of our trip, and it just went from there.
Wow. I can't believe so many like last minute things that you have to deal with that would come up like that. I wouldn't even have thought of that stuff. Oh my
Well, I'll
gosh.
tell you one of the worst of those was I was with Dio and Angela we were in three cities. We were doing Edmonton, Calgary, and Yellowknife.
Mm.
And we couldn't get Dio to wake up to get the plane from Edmonton to Calgary. We banged on the door, we rang his phone, he just wouldn't get up. So I forget how we finally did get him up, but because it was so late, like he sort of jumped in and out of the shower. Angela and I were both ready, and he just moved as fast as he could. And then we had the hotel get us a cab so that as soon as he was ready, we could go. We
Ugh.
got to the airport with something like 5 minutes to spare. So I said, okay, um, Angela, you check us in at the desk. Dio, you carry the luggage, and I'll be there.
Yeah.
And so Angela checked us in. I always did that when we went on a trip. We were going, I said to one of the kids, you're taking us there, and to the other one, you're taking us home. And I give them all the documents.
Oh,
I always kept an eye on them myself, but
yeah.
they hardly ever needed to be reminded that don't forget to pick that up. Yeah, once in a while, but I thought it was a good thing for young people to learn how to travel and stuff like
I think
that.
what a good skill.
So,
Yeah.
and I can remember Angela's going over to the counter with the tickets. I'm, because I don't move as fast as teenagers do, walking along behind Dio, and Dio has all our luggage under his arms. He's running to the plane. We made it too.
Oh my god. Yeah, I can't imagine dealing with that stress. I'm like, well, what if that plane takes off? We have to get there. That is the perks of working with real teenagers who want to sleep in.
Yes. And then it's funny because our plane didn't take off for a while and we were quite late. And then just as we arrived in Yellowknife, the air hostesses and hosts wanted their autographs. Like all the people had gotten off the plane, and we
Yeah.
were like, but we're already late and we have to get off the plane. And they were standing there going, like, everyone's off the plane. Where are they?
Yeah.
And they were signing autographs for
Oh
the
my
crew.
god. Hanging out on a plane, signing autographs. That's gotta feel good.
We had a great time in Yellowknife too. That was a really, really good trip too.
Oh, I love to hear that. We're still not through all of the books that you've read or written for Degrassi. You also created Degrassi Generations, the 411 guide. Can you give everyone an insight? What is that book and what was the goal with creating that?
Here's the book. This is the Canadian version. The American one's green. Um,
Is there any differences between the two? Or just
Not
that?
inside, just the covers.
The cover. Interesting.
The cover. You want to see the American cover?
Yes, I do. I love this. I love them getting a full tour, full book tour.
This is
Yeah.
the one that plays up the Next Generation cast, and this one is sort of split between the two.
Oh, interesting. Oh, I didn't even notice. That's so
So you can see those are Next Generation kids, and those are, well,
it
the
really
four are next, and the two are older ones. And on the back, it's also split.
it captures the generations. That's so cool. And how
And
did
whereas
this come about?
they emphasize the newer version because Nickelodeon was involved at this point, and it was
Mm,
PBS before. And on the back, you see they have Pat and Stacey grown up because they were in the series as well.
that is
So
so
it's a little
cool.
different, but the interior is identical.